Network Entertainment.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to you.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You're listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C. Romoran, Chino Liao, and Emile Nate checking in on an audio-only Picks of the Week episode after a huge wrestling-heavy weekend. Best believe marami na naman tayong pag-uusapan ngayon. We've also got our weekend reactions because of the big news that dropped over the weekend. So we'll get into all of that. But we're going to start the episode by letting you know that we actually had a very fun watch party over on the Discord community for our Wrestling Podcast patrons. So thank you so much to everybody who joined us on Sunday when Rose streamed Full Gear for everyone. Medyo maingay yung live chat. I mean, I wasn't there watching, but I could see all the notifs.
Yeah, it took a while to pick up. Pero it was, mostly me, Emile, and Rowan. Pero okay na rin. There were some people watching. They were just quiet. Pero I'm glad to see that we were still able to do a service for everyone. And probably do this again for World's End in next month.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. And that's one of the many benefits you can get if you're a part of the Wrestling Podcast patron community. So, Emile, let them know what else they can get if they sign up.
All right. So, aside from being able to join the online viewing party for the PLEs or the pay-per-views, you'll get more benefits, no? And it's at patreon.com/wrestling podcast, where source $5 or 260 to 270 pesos. In our currency. And again, just like we mentioned, we have the Discord server where we host the watch parties, and we also, that's where we interact with y'all, and you can interact with your fellow podcasts and talk to us about anything, anything and everything under the sun. Also, you'll get some review content of the weekly wrestling shows courtesy of Ro and Rowan ASH with Raw, SmackDown, NXT, the weekend AEW shows, so all of that and more. And if you become a part of our Patreon, you'll get some sweet rates on the service fees with our Pasabais, which later we will explain since we have a new one, since it's Black Friday, and Madami Singyo, so they're gonna the guys are gonna explain that a little bit later. So again, it's if you wanted to join on all the fun and support the podcast na rin, it's at patreon.com/wrestling podcast. First low, that's $5.
Yeah, since Emile hinted at it, let's tell you all about Black Friday because it is happening this week. Kasabay siya syempre ng Thanksgiving in the US. And that's when all the big sales happen. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and that entire weekend in between, bagsak presyo sa mga favorite online stores ninyo in the US. And we're going to help you get that authentic WWE, AEW, pro wrestling tees, etc. merchandise. All you have to do is to go to the Wrestling Podcast Facebook page. Send us a DM. We'll let you know everything that you need to know. But if you want to go straight to the order form, pwede rin. Just check out tinyurl.com/WWP Black Friday 2023. Again, that is tinyurl.com/WWP Black Friday 2023. All of the mechanics are there. Lahat ng mga rates na most likely kailangan yung bayaran will also be there. Pati na rin yung all the rules that head into you filling up the form. Did I miss anything there?
No, that's it. Well, it's easy to talk to us about it because we'll guide you through it if you send us a PM. Pero, I mean, the rules are there. The guidelines are there. They're pretty clear as well. If you want to get into it, a lot of our former customers, our previous customers have already locked in their orders. We have some new ones as well. And it's going to be fun because bagsak presyo nga, as you mentioned, and we can't wait to get yet another batch of our favorite legit merch.
Last one season na naman para sa ating mga trying to get by month to month. But that's okay. That's what we go to work for, right? To treat ourselves every Black Friday. This is basically the best time of the year to buy your favorite wrestling merch. So again, go check out tinyurl.com/WWP Black Friday 2023. All right, let's get to some weekend reactions. This is something we've been doing for quite some time, sa mga picks of the week episodes natin. And I want to start with the reveal that Will Ospreay is the big AEW signing that Tony Khan hyped up nung Dynamite, nung Thursday last week Manila time. So what are your thoughts on this? Because honestly, hindi siya as big of a deal in the sense na Will Ospreay had already been part of AEW canon. So it's not as big of a deal as, say, if like Goldberg had appeared or if someone from WWE had jumped ship quite literally. So what do you guys think about this one?
I mean, Ronda Rousey debuted for RH. So yes, there's that. Pero as far as Will Ospreay is concerned, I still think it's a pretty big deal. Because you're talking about a very well-seasoned, very well-decorated indie vet who for the longest time has sworn off signing with certain companies. Diba? Yes, he signed with New Japan. Pero nung tinanong siya about moving to the States and joining perhaps the WWE, he has been on record as saying na ayaw niya. He was vehemently against moving to the States and performing for bigger companies. But now, siguro dahil may option to do the AEW thing, he signed on to do that, which is surprising because I thought he was going to follow his wife over to the WWE side of things.
It's not his wife anymore.
Well, di na sila. They're broken up.
Oh, okay. Sige, hindi na ako sa balita. So, I guess it makes more sense na dahil hiwalay na sila and all that. But I mean, it's still very surprising for me. I guess in the sense na yes, kasama na siya sa canon and he's been part of certain storylines. But I think this signing, if anything, just makes it more official than it already has been. Diba? Parang on paper and in story, he is all elite.
Yeah, no, I get what Stan is trying to say. It's not a surprise because the guy has wrestled twice, I think, for AEW already. Parang bisita na siya, diba? Frequent visitor na siya. So it's not something that would really rock the world. And I think Tony Khan played it really well by just simply announcing na may nag-sign, not really rolling out the red carpet for them, and just confirming that the guy who worked for him before is now working for him full time. So that's pretty cool. And it's not that it's not a big deal. It's just that it's not a surprise. So okay lang din. I don't know how that works. I think he's still based in the UK. I don't know how he's going to be commuting back and forth. But obviously UK, the US is closer than UK to Japan. So if this is what allows him to live outside the ring better, then more power to him. I think Will Ospreay naman is a fit for the kind of wrestling, the AEW wrestling DNA, if you will. And I think it could go wrong. I mean, it could not all the same, but it might go a little more wrong in WWE. But, we'll never know that. And this is still a good career move for him.
And I'm actually kind of glad and surprised that TK didn't go overboard with hyping up the announcement. Like that was one of our main complaints about TK over the last month is that he overhypes some announcements, pero di naman talaga siya as grandiose. But this one, he announced it on Twitter, and that's it. And I actually when I listened to the Masked Man show, which I'm doing now, they said that if when they were predicting who was assigning, they said if it's Ospreay, then TK would have done all the all the hype and all the
To be fair, this was the best time for him to actually do the hype. So,
exactly.
Yes, sobrang nakakatawa, di ba?
Kung kailan
nasunog kasi siya with the
kailangan.
whole all-in announcement. So, na-humble siya tuloy.
I was surprised. Now he didn't go overboard with the hype because it's Will Ospreay. It's one of the biggest signings that they have up until this point. So, plus I do notice
Really,
a couple of.
Like, is Will Ospreay really one of the biggest signings if you already have signed Edge and CM Punk?
Yeah.
No, I
and
mean,
Saraya?
no, Tama. I agree that he is one of the big signings. He is legit one of the hottest, the best wrestlers of his particular generation. Like the people you mentioned before, they're of the previous generation, but they're of the 90s, 2000s, early 2010s. So this guy, he is the it right now. So it's not a false argument to say that he is a really legit huge signing.
You flip mo din yung conversation. If Will Ospreay was signed by the WWE, it'd be equally as big. Diba?
Right.
They'll still hype it in the same exact way because he has that draw.
I'm not saying Will Ospreay isn't a big signing. I was just saying in contrast to like the Adam Copeland signing and the CM Punk signing from 2 years ago, like those are really on a different level. That being said, you're right, Chino. There was a part of me that actually felt sad na Ospreay didn't go to WWE kasi if Ospreay made the jump to WWE, I think that would have been comparable to AJ Styles making it to WWE back in 2016.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
And last point, I noticed two things about the announcement and the signing of the contract. First, they before kasi when Will made those AEW appearances, he was a heel, right? Pero in New Japan, he's already a babyface. So this one,
babyface na rin siya.
Babyface na siya, and notice ko na there wasn't any United Empire branding. Like his title shot doesn't say United Empire. He didn't do the United Empire hand sign. I noticed kasi he's technically, as of right now, he's still the leader. Pero I think in AEW is gonna be. I think TK is gonna reset his character maybe and maybe push him as a babyface because they kind of need some babyface on their roster because most of their main event talents are heel at this point. So let's see what the future lies ahead for one Will Ospreay.
I can answer that. Medyo dinistansya na siya from the United Empire branding, the faction, kasi ever since he turned face with Kenny, they weren't really associating with him with the henchmen so much. So I don't know if that was a deliberate act, pero it's something that happens. So I think sina Great Okan, sina TJ, Catch 22, they're doing it. They're parang raising the flag themselves, but Will is doing his own thing. He's appearing in Impact, which we'll talk about later. So that might be the reset, and I think TK is finally following the reset.
Mm-hmm. All right. One more thing I want to point out about the Will Ospreay signing is he made sure to mention sa promo niya na hindi pa siya tapos sa New Japan. Kasi medyo open secret na rin, di ba, na the contracts in New Japan don't really end until after Wrestle Kingdom or on the day of Wrestle Kingdom. So it's good that he acknowledged it. Kinlaro niya for everyone na just let me finish out with New Japan. And may lumabas na rin na balita from sina Sean Ross Sapp over the weekend na there is a bit of an agreement between AEW and New Japan. New Japan gave Will Ospreay their blessing to sign with AEW, and then in return, there's that agreement na let him finish out his dates with New Japan, and then after that, he'll be officially All Elite. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's very I guess it's very modern then na wala yung pagka-territorial na and exclusive nung strictly exclusive ng mga kontrata nila. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. It's good. It shows that NJPW is willing to play ball a little more, a lot more than they were like maybe a decade ago. So, okay, yan. The more places people can work, the more money they earn.
Yeah. So there, that's it for Will Ospreay. We're going to talk about Ronda Rousey in a bit since minention nga siya ni Chino. Pero zoom out muna tayo because that happened at Full Gear, yung kay Will Ospreay. Macro thoughts on the show. I literally just finished it minutes before we hit record. So medyo fresh pa siya sa akin. But for you guys who've seen it over the weekend.
It's the first, honestly, this was the first AEW pay-per-view I enjoyed probably since...
Wow.
Last year. Yeah, honestly, I had a blast watching this one because the previous ones, maybe except All In. Except for All In, I actually enjoyed that one. But the others, because they're stacking, TK stacked up the card way too much. Like we were getting 10 matches, 11 matches on the card. So it kind of felt, sobrang drag. When you compare it to WWE, you were doing 5 matches on their PLEs this year. So sobrang may contrast doon. So but this one, because it was only 8 matches, and when I watch it live, the time kind of flew by so fast. Kasi sobrang enjoy ng mga matches, no. No match. There was no match that I felt went too long. Even the deathmatch, which we will talk about later, I felt like that was the appropriate time for it because it's a violent match to settle a really personal feud. So every match got their shine, and even the main event, which was wala namang piktito, so we can talk about it. Medyo overbooked siya, but it's fine. I actually enjoyed it. The only thing maybe I could say is that I was kind of bummed that we didn't have the devil reveal because I thought they were headed towards a reveal dito at the end of this pay-per-view, but it didn't happen. I was waiting for it until the end. Because when I was looking at the clock, there was still 5 minutes until the top of the hour. So I think, okay, maybe the reveal will happen now. So I kept waiting, but di nangyari. So yun lang yung bummer part of that show for me.
No, I agree. I didn't like na walang devil reveal. Call me impatient, but man, they've been building up to this, and then parang napaka incomplete and unsatisfying for me. Na MJF went through all of that only to not get a devil reveal.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was fun. Yes, the pay-per-view was great. Also, the first one, also because it was one that I could follow from start to finish. I didn't have to worry about work because it wasn't on a Monday morning, diba? So okay siya. The cherry on top was, of course, my pick, which is Hangman Swerve. And it was wrestled really well, I think. Despite my misgivings about the writing itself, ng main event itself. I think everyone brought it. They weren't rushing to complete the card the way they would when there are 10 or so matches on it. So I think Tony Khan is learning a bit of a lesson there, but can't be too sure. It was really fun. I think it might be the best pay-per-view they had this year. So World's End still has a chance to knock that off. But this was pretty well executed for the most part.
Chino, any thoughts?
Yeah, na-cover niyo na din lahat ng sinabi niyo. I will say na yes, it is surprising na 8 matches lang on the card, but if you count the pre-show, the buy-in, I think is what you call it, diba?
Yeah, 0 hour.
0 hour.
0 hour. So magpa-plus 2 matches na din siya, so it rounds it up back up to 10. Mahaba siya in general if you watch everything. But I will say this one is a little bit more well-paced. Mas nasabayan mo. Hindi ka napapagod when you watch it. So I guess, yes, tama din yung reaction natin na Tony Khan might have learned a thing or two by now. Pero it's only been one card. It's only been one show, diba? We have to wait and see until the next pay-per-view to see if ito nga yung formula nila moving forward.
I think yung na-feel natin with the pace being more manageable is a page out of the WWE playbook, because if you look through yung structure ng mga PLEs in WWE, di ba laging merong vignettes na pinapalabas, yung mga commercial for the network, yung mga whatever upcoming programming, and then there's like a backstage interview or like a promo, di ba, during the PLEs. So Tony Khan didn't used to do that. Dati lagi match. Tapos di ba, pataas yung intensity, New Japan style. So matakin mo yun, di ba? Na he's actually now taking place out of the WWE PLE formula. And now we see that it actually works, because there's a reason why that has been the case for the WWE PLEs for the longest time.
For Triple H's time, not the longest time.
Okay, fine. Yeah. But yeah, who would have thought na may silbi pala lahat ng mga breaks na yun, diba? The breaks in the action, the vignettes and the commercials that people rail about online, may silbi pala siya. Now we know.
It's nice to see like non-stop full tilt action for like siguro mga 2-3 hours. But when you go 4 hours deep, just ganun pa rin, walang hingahan, just go. One of those matches is going to suffer.
Yep.
And then the card suffers. So at least ngayon, nalaman na ni Tony Khan kung ba't ganun talaga yung style ng WWE.
Yeah. And I hope fans also realize it, diba? Kasi like, nga tayo, diba? We've been watching pay-per-views and PLEs for such a long time, and then now we're getting why these things happen the way that they do.
Yeah.
All right, last bit of news from over the weekend. Ronda Rousey has shown up at Ring of Honor, and the last we've heard about Ronda Rousey was that she was done with pro wrestling for family reasons, and then biglang, out of nowhere, in ROH. So reports from over the weekend also add na AEW is willing to work with Ronda Rousey if she's willing to put in more time. Like, however, she wants to put pro wrestling into her schedule. But what do you guys think of this development?
Yeah, I thought when I first saw the thing, I thought that she was just filling in for Marina, kasi friends with that for Horsewomen and all that. I obviously she wasn't signed full time. She was just doing the thing, and it's funny because one of the biggest MMA stars of this generation shows up on this D tier show ng AEW ni Tony Khan. That is one of the funniest things. But it's a thing she can do because she's now just doing side quests. She did the big wrestling company. She did the big MMA company. Nobody can tell her what to do now. So if she wants to wrestle at an indie show, if she wants to appear on
Artista na din siya.
oh, yeah. If she wants to appear only on Honor Club, then more power to her. That's the dream that you have enough financial freedom to do whatever the fuck you want with your whatever career you want, diba? So interesting. I'm not expecting her to do or to sign with AEW full time. I think knowing her, knowing how she feels about fans, I don't think she wants to put herself through that scrutiny again. So I think we'll just see her, show up here and there. Like if it leads to something more long term, then okay, great. But I'm not gonna expect that.
Wasn't she at an indie show?
Yeah.
Like I saw a clip of her getting suplexed on her head or something.
Yeah.
Diba? Tapos parang, I mean, yun yung gusto niyang gawin niya. Good for her, diba? Well, also what a rub for ROH.
Yeah.
Getting somebody like Ronda Rousey on their show, diba? Like that is such a random draw, but good for them, diba? That they got Ronda Rousey on their card for one night. So, I mean, it also benefits like the smaller companies that you see. Kahit sabihin natin, hindi siya smart mark friendly, si Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Diba? It's still a draw. Diba? People will still watch to hate.
Hopefully.
Diba? So it'll still
no, it's hard. It's hard to watch Ring of Honor legally.
Also, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. But then maybe ang hope nila is for more people to sign up to Honor Club. I don't know. I'm not on the business end of things here. I'm talking about all the smaller shows that Ronda Rousey's appeared in. It only benefits these smaller shows kasi you're getting a brand name like Ronda Rousey on your card. And therefore, people will start to pay attention to your promotion.
Yeah. Congrats to Ring of Honor for getting Ronda Rousey for this latest set of tapings, and congrats to Ronda Rousey for coming back to wrestling and realizing that I guess she still does love the business kahit papano. So, wherever Ronda is happy, wherever she finds peace with regard to her role in the wrestling business, dun tayong lahat, diba? So, that sounds like a lot of fun for everybody involved. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, our picks of the week on this audio-only episode. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. Let's get to the main event. These are our picks of the week, and we're going to start with Chino here.
Okay, I will suggest this with the caveat na hindi ko siya napanood fully. But it is Becky Lynch playing on Celebrity Jeopardy. Jeopardy is very, very important to me. It's probably more important than wrestling. It's a show that I've seen for the longest time, one of the only shows that I've paid attention to. And whenever somebody like Becky Lynch, person we did not expect to see on a Jeopardy stage, appears on a Jeopardy stage, nagiging malaking bagay siya sa akin. Even if it was just a clip, the few clips that I found online, natuwa na ako dun sa fact na yun because it was representation, diba? You could see na si Becky wala siya sa element niya and it was nag-set siya ng some sort of negative record for having no correct answers in 60 questions, parang something to that extent.
Yeah.
So yes, hindi maganda, but she tried to hold up her own, diba? And she was against some very smart celebrities. She was against Macaulay Culkin, who he himself is a wrestling fan and a very smart person, and Rachel Dratch, former SNL. So parang matatalino yung nakasabay niya. Really didn't do as good as the other two, pero at least we got to see a wrestler on a Jeopardy stage, and I don't ever think nangyari yan before Becky Lynch.
I'm sure it happened before. I think we just don't know. No, but you're the super fan. You probably should know.
I don't think it's happened before. Since the Rock, I don't think the Rock's been on Jeopardy.
I once read this profile on Ken Jennings from the 2000s, and then he shares how he prepared for his iconic Jeopardy run of being champion for, I think, the longest, or one of the longest times. Diba?
Still holds the record.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's interesting because you do have to prepare for Jeopardy, and even if you have a lot of stock knowledge, you do have to prepare. And it's funny. I haven't seen it as well because wala mahanap na the footage. Pero it's funny that for someone like Becky, who prides herself on being excellent in all things, especially her trash talking game on Twitter, parang hindi siya nagkanda for the mental rigors of Jeopardy.
Parang kinain siya ng buhay ng mga questions.
One would expect, diba, na she would at least try. Pero I haven't seen it again, pero I don't doubt that it's entertaining, even in a way that you want to throw your phone at the TV screen, because she would get easy questions wrong, and there are giveaways to to Jeopardy.
I mean,
questions.
Celebrity Jeopardy is relatively easier or significantly easier than normal Jeopardy. Kasi yung rounds nila, they have 3 rounds, and the first round are basically kid glove questions, diba? So parang hindi pa siya ganun kahirap, and doon pa lang wala na siyang nasagot, diba? She was 4 digits in the red, which if you know your Jeopardy, is not good. It's very bad. So parang doon pa lang nahirapan na siya, but it was like, I mean, I'm all for seeing somebody that we look up to in a different field, in another field that I look up to. So yun lang yung fact na nagpasaya sa akin.
Do you know how she did in Final Jeopardy?
I don't think she made it to final.
How do you not make it to Final Jeopardy?
If you don't have anything to wager, you don't.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought you could, lift yourself up from the laylayan.
Yeah.
So, tawag doon, what was I going to say? Maybe she was being a good worker and putting over everyone else in the show.
And I think she was also, I think she's also doing this for a book, kasi they build her as wrestler and author. So siguro nag-focus sila dun sa author part masyado. Hindi nila naisip yung wrestler part. I don't know. But, I mean, kudos to Becky for doing this.
I mean, I get it. I get that. I guess you are our resident quiz man in reference to Awkwafina's character dun sa movie na yun. But man, I just can't celebrate Becky and the futility in that Jeopardy appearance. It's kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie. I feel very, very sad na sobrang bokeh si Becky in Celebrity Jeopardy.
I mean, nobody's celebrating here. I'm not celebrating here. Diba?
I just don't find it pick-worthy because I don't want to dunk on Becky Lynch is all. I get it. We weren't dunking on her naman. It's just that
I wasn't dunking on her. Diba?
Right.
No, I mean,
on Jeopardy.
If it shows na, she was being a good sport about it, and she was, maybe she was making it entertaining. Nobody knows because we do not literally have the full episode with us yet.
Wala rin tayo access to it.
Medyo mahirap siya hanapin.
Right.
So, but you mean, hey, whenever a wrestler feels like stepping up to Jeopardy, siguro then we can talk about it. Sana mas magaling sila, I guess. But until now, we have Becky Lynch on Celebrity Jeopardy.
And
plus,
that's all we get.
Plus, I'm not gonna dunk on Becky because I don't think I would have done better if I was on Jeopardy.
No,
it's don't have an idea.
Hard. It really isn't that hard.
It's not that hard. It's like
for you to have.
Yeah, it's 90% timing. I mean,
like the only time where I encountered Jeopardy online was when someone bungled that question about Joel Embiid's nickname. So that's it. So, but I have no idea about this game. I probably would have done worse than Becky Lynch.
Emile, you helped us host Quiz Night, which is basically in Jeopardy format.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yun.
Yes.
Just in case you didn't know, yun.
Also, wrestling trivia has appeared on Jeopardy. Ilang beses na. So, I mean, it's not really beyond your realm of capabilities.
So, I just saw a clip of the late Alex Trebek administering a hip hop beef category. So you would have gotten some answers.
Alright. Di kasi siya na franchise dito kaya wala ko masyadong idea
Sure,
before.
yeah, sure. Okay.
Medyo hindi siya abot ng sensibilities ng masang Pinoy.
Yeah.
I think that's the best and most diplomatic way to put it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. That's true.
All right, let's get to the next pick. This one is from Emile.
All right, so my pick, it's from last week's Impact Wrestling. It was the main event, I think, of Impact. It was Will Ospreay versus Josh Alexander. I think at this point, nagbubuka na akong Marty Will Ospreay because I always pick a Will Ospreay match like every month.
No,
But
you'll never be on the level of Dave Meltzer. He's the biggest Will Ospreay mark in the world.
Yeah, but what can I say? I already said when I picked the Will Ospreay versus Mike Bailey match that 2023 Will Ospreay is already up there as one of the best single year runs of any wrestler in history, and this just adds to it. I mean, this was a dream match for me. I mean, it's not every day you're gonna see these two clash in a match, and it was a very clash of styles match. I say Josh Alexander works a technical style, and Will Ospreay is just a high flying wrestler, and it made for a great match. I mean, it was a great main event. It was solid 15-minute to 18-minute main event. So it was a pay-per-view worthy match that we got on free TV and on YouTube. It was I saw this on YouTube. Like they posted the full match.
Yes.
So that's great for Impact. So madami din yung makakapanood nito.
Hey, for 25 pesos, you can watch the entire Impact episode.
Yeah, it's affordable. But again, I really thought before the news came out of Will signing with AEW na Impact might have a chance here kasi Will kind of loved being on Impact kasi they always allude this dun sa commentary na Will Ospreay loved Impact as a kid kasi apparently TNA is big sa UK, and one of Will Ospreay's inspirations was AJ Styles. That's why parang dream niya to go into Impact, and even though he was already on Impact before, but now he's like main eventer. Now he wants to go to Impact and and do what his idol did back in the day. So it was a great match. It was a great couple of outings there for Will Ospreay, and even though he's signed with AEW, maybe he can still appear on Impact before he becomes full time sa AEW, and maybe we will get some more Will Ospreay there. But again, Will Ospreay is just incredible, man. I have said everything that I need to say, and probably I'll spoil my pick now for the Wrestler of the Year starting year-end awards. That my Wrestler of the Year is probably going to be Will Ospreay. So,
wow,
yeah.
I'll say, wait, before Gina starts, all I'll say is you can love something growing up, but if it doesn't, support your family, then there's no point in going there.
That's true. That's true there, bro.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Gina.
Sorry, no, I'm just happy somebody picked this match. This was my favorite wrestling match in recent history. So, past few weeks that I've actually caught wrestling. I haven't seen the entirety of full year. I'm about halfway, I think. About halfway through the card, right? And now that we're talking about it, ang dami ko din nagustuhan dito sa match na to between Josh Alexander and Will Ospreay. Ospreay elevating Alexander kasi the longest time Josh Alexander has been the best kept secret sa Impact Wrestling. People don't really tune in to Impact to watch Josh Alexander, but watching Josh Alexander is a treat, because he's been loyal to the company. He's performed so well. He's done everything they've asked of him. And he's just stepped up so much ever since his tag team days with All Ego Ethan Page. So nakakatuwa din na nakita tong match na to because it allows for somebody like Josh Alexander, who doesn't quite have as much experience in the ring, to go up against somebody like Will Ospreay, who is very well seasoned, very well tenured in different parts of the world. So nakita mo din kung paano mag-step up si Alexander. He was doing things that you don't normally see him do. He was really pulling out all the stops against a high caliber athlete like Will Ospreay, and yun yung na-enjoy ko din sa match na to because he really had to step up to Ospreay's level to even make the match up equal and both of them on equal footing. Siguro ang pinaka-ayoko lang dito is how they try to shoehorn Will Ospreay's love for TNA.
Siyempre, TRN eh.
Oh, branding yun eh, no ba?
Nakakainis lang na every time na mag-wrestling si Will Ospreay, yun lang yung fact nila. So, has he only seen one Impact match his entire life tas naging homer siya? Like, why can't they say na, oh, Will Ospreay also did this for Impact or saw this at it? They've mentioned that same match multiple times in the multiple Impact appearances Will Ospreay has had. So, parang nakakatawa lang na yun lang yung match na sinasabi nila that he really, really loves. So it's just such a forced fact at this point, but all in all, the match still was pretty good, especially for a company trying to rebrand.
All right.
There's some people out there who this is the first time na expose sila kay Josh Alexander. I will also recommend, if you want more of Josh Alexander, you can watch the 1 hour match he had with Mike Bailey around this year or around last year. That 1 hour match, boy, that was also good. So if you want more Josh Alexander, you better check that out.
Yeah. The bigger Josh Alexander boo-boo for me was the Slammiversary match. They were referencing all these TNA Originals moves. That was the dumbest shit. Sorry, that was the dumbest shit I'd ever seen. Like, yes, tribute, yes, but it was so corny. Okay, you guys talked about how good Josh and Ospreay were. They're pretty good, yes, definitely. So I'm gonna approach this from a production psychology perspective. And I've said this before, pero Jesus fucking Christ, the Impact crowd is super, super shit. Like, ang tahimik nila. I don't understand why. It felt like they weren't enjoying or, weren't super into the match they were watching. And that's not a knock on it's not a knock on the competitors, on the workers, because almost every Impact great match that I've watched, like, recently over the past year, ganito sila. I don't know if it's a production issue. Now they're not miking up the crowd as much, but here in the Philippines, we don't need to mic up the crowd because they're pretty loud. So my guess is the crowd is really just super shit. Like, do Impact crowds actually enjoy Impact? Because it doesn't sound like it. So that to me, because it waters down the perceived quality of a match. Because a loud, energetic crowd can make up for a less than average match, diba? Like you've seen Hogan, Andre. So it's super bad. Like I hate it. I hated the experience. So to me, Chino says that Josh Alexander is like the hidden gem of Impact. Now I feel Josh Alexander should go somewhere else so that he could be appreciated some more. I mean, like, yes, people will find him and show you clips, and as they should promote his matches. Pero the way the atmosphere feels around their big main events is just it doesn't do him any favors, is all I'll say. So yun yung main gripe ko about this match. The commentary, bless their hearts, are trying, pero the crowd is just not matching the energy. That's what I did not like about this match. So again, I'm gonna blame the fans here. So naman, it's a tough look when the work in the ring doesn't seem to be hitting with the people in the crowd.
Yeah, so I haven't been able to catch this match, so wala akong masabi. I'll probably put this on my watch list, and then I'll get to it when I get to it. Okay, let's move to Rowan's pick from SmackDown over the weekend, and he selected Santos Escobar's promo and his confrontation with the members of the LWO who were there. So Ray obviously wasn't there because he just had surgery. Sabi ni Rowan na when Santos turned heel, he expected na it was the right time to bring back Legado del Fantasma. So nagulat daw siya na Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde chose to side with the LWO. And kino-call out niya na si Santos, he kind of struggled while delivering his lines, or someone must have missed their cue, whether it was Zelina or Santos Escobar. He still thought that Santos' promo was pretty great, especially na si Michael Cole was selling it well by being offended on commentary.
Yeah, that was good. That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Cole is. I think Michael Cole is growing into his JR mode. Like yung peak JR from the early 2000s where JR was the moral compass of the WWE. I think Michael Cole has earned the gravitas to be said moral compass.
Yep.
That's just me though. I don't know what you guys think. Anyway, Rowan thinks then Santos is now assuming the role that Eddie Guerrero played as a heel back in the mid 2000s. Kasi parang he wasn't really hitting well, I guess, as a babyface for Rowan, and he feels na giving Santos this role as a heel is the right decision. Lalo na mag-isa na siya ngayon, wala nang Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, and he thinks na Santos as a heel in the singles division will help the mid card. I actually was confused na wala siyang rest back. Na even Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro chose to defend Rey Mysterio. I mean, I guess it makes sense in like morals and ethics. Na oh nga naman, this is our legend, this is our father figure. But I also find it weird. Na Santos is like, Rey is my father figure, dude. You're like 9 years apart. Like Rey is 47, Santos is 38.
Okay, I mean, like, so that makes what Rey 15?
A 9-year-old dad.
15 years old, 15 years older than we are, or you and I. So I mean, it's okay. Like it's not something to destroy my sense of disbelief, diba? Or sense of belief rather. So that's not an issue for me.
I guess I would have appreciated better na kung sinabi na lang niya na parang I thought of you as like a big brother, na parang kuya kita,
sure.
diba? Then again, I get why he brought up the father figure thing to probably tie into Dominic was right. So that detail was something I appreciated. Na Dominic was right. That was good kasi it sells Dominic as well, diba? Na parang may katwiran din pala si Dominic after all this time. So, yun.
I agree that it wasn't hitting as much as it should. I don't think kasi that the crowd in that show was bad. I didn't quite feel their enthusiasm, so they weren't one of the good crowds to hold a SmackDown. So medyo minadas siya doon. Kasi he delivered well. He was, in with many people, his English is more than passable. So it's one of those things that should get you over as a Latin American or Latin character, Latin person, diba? So it wasn't bad. It's just that it felt like the crowd once again couldn't care less, right? So sayang din. I thought that the Stan character, which is to mean yung Eminem character, which was what he was doing with Ray, when he turned heel last week, that was supposed to be you and me. You could have been together. Think about it. You ruin it now. So it was I hope that they lean into that more because it would sell the character a lot better if he was just crazy and unhinged as a Rey Mysterio fanboy. So this is a step in the right direction. Now the more I think about it, the more I think he doesn't need like the Garzas to help him out, to to back him up against LWO, to be the LWO Wolfpack or whatever. So it was a fun segment. Could have been better, pero it naitawid yung gusto niyang mangyari.
I enjoyed this promo kasi I never realized till now how Santos is a decent promo. He's a great, decent to great promo. They've been struggling for a long time to find a heel Latin star. I mean, they tried with Alberto Del Rio, it didn't work. So Santos fits that bill so well, and I actually like the raw emotions that he delivered. Again, he delivered the promo really well, and nadala ako dun sa promo niya. And like when I was watching that promo, I was wondering why was he babyface for a long time. I mean, him as a heel is probably much better than him as a babyface, but maybe because they need to get to that to get to this point, so maybe that's why. So
exactly,
so I like this. I like this promo. Actually, now I do wonder where is this feud gonna head, because Ray is out, and kailan bababalik si Ray? Royal Rumble na or come February, so maybe they're gonna save that for Mania. But what is he gonna do at the meantime? So I don't want to
feud with Carlito.
Yeah, I don't want him
Carlito
to
and
lose.
Santos are facing each other at Survivor Series, dude.
Yeah.
So I just don't want him to lose all that heat that he's gaining. So I wish dun sa magiging feud niya with Carlito is gonna be over, and get over him, and then Once Ray comes back, then they can do the that's gonna be the WrestleMania match right there. Santos versus Ray.
I also agree with all the statements saying that he should have been a heel, because his greatest work in the WWE so far has been during his run with Legado del Fantasma sa NXT. I really enjoyed that. I also enjoy his work outside of the WWE and agree that he is one of the more charismatic, one of the better communicators in terms of English sa Latin America. So I also agree na they might have something here. But I will say na I do want to see him step up the heelness a little bit more. Siguro dahil pa-start pa lang nung storyline, wala pa masyadong injury si Rey Mysterio and sinampal siya ni Selena. That's good, but I want to see him step it up a little bit more. Be a little bit more maniacal. Diba? Maybe something happens dun sa match na ni Carlito, diba? Or maybe something more interesting develops in the story. Who knows? But I definitely am all for the heel Escobar.
I just want to say na if you haven't been following Escobar pre WWE, then yeah, it's likely you wouldn't know nga na he's a very good English speaker, especially compared to yung mga luchadors na talagang galing Mexico. I remember back when Lucha Underground was still going on, the Lucha Underground cast did an interview on ESPN, and yung primary mouthpiece nila was Escobar under the King Cuerno mask. Kasi siya nga yung talagang magaling mag-English and someone who, could hang in there with the American guys that they were interviewing on TV. That being said, even nung nasa Lucha Underground pa lang si Escobar, he could already talk back then. And you're right. I do enjoy him more as a heel, but I also liked seeing him as a babyface. So it's good that he was able to show his range. But I think SmackDown does need yung mga mid-card heels. Kasi you've got the top guys, which is the Bloodline. And then maybe nandun na rin sina Theory and Grayson Waller, but having Santos Escobar there to mess with sina Rey, with sina Carlito is good because it gives them something to do while Rey is out. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to call Carlito versus Santos Escobar just because, it's a great way to incorporate Carlito into all of this. I'd like to hear his point of view actually. Parang, nga naman, bakit siya yung naging bagong salta ng LWO? Na parang just because Ray gave you a call or whatever, just because backlash happened in Puerto Rico, you got called out from from being in the area na incorporate siya into the LWO canon. I want to get yung point of view niya so they can flesh out the story more other than, Carlito is the dependable legend that Ray could rely on in his time of need. So yun. Something that we hope we can get more into in the next few days heading into Survivor Series. All right, we mentioned luchadors. We gotta show love to two other luchadors who really tore it down on SmackDown, and those are Axiom and Dragon Lee. I'm not sure if Axiom has been called up, kind of like the Creed brothers were when they got their Raw call-ups. I think yung bali-balita from the dirt sheets is that hindi pa final yung status ni Axiom on the main roster. That being said,
sorry, that was probably the tryout, like Dragon Lee had a few months back.
Yeah.
Well, that was a tryout. I'd like to think he passed because he and Dragon Lee really, really did well. Sobrang nakakatuwa yung style nila na yung simula, it was it was high flying. It was what you would expect out of luchadors. But then they started getting really physical with the strikes. So the fact that they were able to mix it up with one another was pretty cool. Yung pagkaka-explain ng commentary sa backstory ni Axiom was different from the way that he was characterized on NXT. Kasi when A-Kid first started appearing as Axiom, diba they framed him as this genius, sobrang intellectual, math problems in his head being visualized on the screen. They really deviated from that here and they made it all about yung dream niya. Sila ng mga tropa niya, diba, na parang they all had a dream to make it in wrestling, to make it to WWE. So he wears his mask para he doesn't just represent himself, he represents the crew that he came up with, which is kind of a bit of a stretch. No. I can live with it. Like, I actually like it. Parang, basta alam ng mga tao na he's one of them. Kasi now he gets a hometown, diba? From Madrid, Spain, Axiom. So I actually can live with that explanation for the Axiom character. Now I just need them to tie it into why he's called Axiom. Like, paano nila ma-incorporate yung pagkatalino niya, yung math problems and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, because I always thought Axiom was just a poor man's Aerostar. Di ba? Parang ganun yung
Sure.
aesthetic niya, di ba? Na
From the
parang
cosmos.
space,
Yeah.
space siya, superhero siya. Tapos now that you brought up the commentary, parang sabi, oo nga, no? Parang weird ganun na parang from this larger than life character, naging everyman siya bigla. Which was never his deal, by the way, in NXT, diba? He was either an underdog or he was either like this mythical being. Pero never naman siya naging everyman eh. Even as a kid, never naman naging ganun yung character niya. So I guess they were just trying to see
No,
what
the A-Kid character was grounded because he was literally the kid from Spain.
Yeah, yung A-Kid character, like if you know the meaning behind the name, it comes from El Niño Anónimo.
Okay.
He wanted to be anonymous talaga,
Yeah,
which was
yung mga
also weird kasi
diba?
hindi naman siya masked wrestler nun.
Yeah, also, I mean, again, you brought it up, yung mga math, hindi naman din yan approachable sa lahat ng tao, diba? So, I always thought that they were trying something a little bit different here, but the fact that they're trying to ground him again, especially since they haven't unmasked A-Kid, is pretty interesting. It's an interesting way to put it.
Ito, question for you guys. Kasi sa comments, like, some friends were making jokes na a typical Pinoy casual would say, uy, dalawang Rey Mysterio.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I hate that.
Okay. Question for you
Come
guys.
on.
Is there room on SmackDown for 3 masked guys?
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I mean,
what is
AEW
this?
has so many masked guys on their roster now.
We did that. We did this so many years ago. In 2003, 2004. We had like what?
Ultimo Dragon.
3, yeah.
Tapos
Rey
yung ano pa,
Mysterio.
yung the luchador, sila Kalisto and them.
Yeah, exactly.
Diba? They were all there for a time, they were all doing their thing. I mean, hindi naman kasi ang typical assumption din ng casual fan is that nakamask ka, therefore ikaw na si Rey Mysterio.
Hey.
No.
Hey,
That's
Yes.
This
I
is
guess,
my
I would
experience.
know. Yeah.
This is
not-
my
this-
experience.
Yeah,
No,
But
this is
it's
my
not me,
experience.
diba?
Same. I will side with bro here.
Wait, are you a masked wrestler? Sorry, Emile?
Hindi.
Did I miss something?
No. When it comes to casuals, like always pointing out whenever I would watch
I've
wrestling,
literally
especially
been
in
called
school.
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Yun yung sinasabi ko. Hindi naman ako yung nagsabi, yung tao ang nagsasabi. But what they don't understand is that it's a little bit more nuanced than that. Even in Mexico, pag pumunta ka, diba, may mga rudo and may mga technical and the whole mysticism behind it. Diba? It's a little too much for people to understand. But if a company like the WWE can break it down to simpler terms, diba, and add a little bit more depth into their luchador roster, then why not? Diba? To grow the sport, to grow the exposure to the culture, why not?
All right, I'm gonna explain the whole issue with the background here.
Yeah.
The strange, larger than life luchador backstory is fucking dumb. Outside of Mexico, outside of actual lucha libre promotions, it is dumb. As someone who has created a backstory for my masked wrestler character, it is dumb. And it is not something you want to keep pushing on the fan base for too long because it's it's all too much effort to keep up the charade and keep up that kind of kayfabe. So I understand why they grounded the Axiom character. Yes, it doesn't make sense anymore when it comes to the masked wrestler character, but you see that in a lot of people. Like Psychosis used to be a masked wrestler, and when we first saw him, he was, you and I, this generation first saw him, he was already unmasked on SmackDown, diba? So why is he called Psychosis, diba? That was a masked name, but he carried it over, diba? So it's things like those it is what it is. So we've strayed too far from the match. It was really good. This is my original pick because I always give love to the cruiserweights, and it seems as though Triple H is giving them love once more after the demise of 205 Live. If you haven't seen Axiom yet, if this is your first exposure to Axiom, say you don't watch NXT, you don't watch NXT UK, A-Kid is not your usual luchador. The reason why they did the whole Strike Fest is because A-Kid is trained in MMA and meron siyang stand-up game, if you will. So that was pretty fun. It shows that they're not just flippy guys, even though they're really good flippy guys. If you observe Axiom as well. He doesn't always do yung over the top acrobatics that most luchadors do. So that's why there is space for someone like Axiom because he doesn't work like your commanders or your El Hijo de Vikingos, diba? So that I still think that was the audition. I hope he passed the audition because you always want to see more people like that, even if you don't have as much time for them in a 1.5 hour SmackDown. So really good stuff. I'm also glad that they got time to cook. It wasn't your 5-minute match.
Yeah. Oh, they got 2 segments.
Yeah, exactly. So seryoso Triple H dito. Like he knew that Dragon Lee was a big signing, a big pickup. He wasn't just any other, masked luchador that is like the flavor of the month or the flavor of the week for Smarks. So he is treating him with the respect that he wishes someone like Mystico got when he first signed with WWE in 2010. Yeah. So really good stuff. It's SmackDown is I appreciate SmackDown booking for giving space to these things once more.
Plus, I love watching matches like these because I can just turn my brain off and just enjoy the spectacle.
Agree, 100%.
Yeah. Plus, even though they're masked wrestlers and people call them luchadors, Dragon Lee and A-Kid are much more than just like Ro alluded here, flippy guys. Because Dragon Lee, when you watch him, he's also a strike. He's really one of the best strikers in wrestling today. And A-Kid has. He has a much more complete game than your usual commanders and the Vikingos. So, but I enjoy all types of luchador matches. Like, I enjoy the commander, the Vikingo, all of that flippy stuff. But I also enjoy lucha matches like this, which where they would wow the audience, but as soon as they're hooked in, they're gonna go with the strikes and they're gonna tell this story within the match. So I love this match, and I've been noticing lately that SmackDown always allot like 2 segments for cruiserweights, which again maybe that's Triple H rectifying what he did back then with the 205 Live, and it's great. I mean, doesn't need an hour, but just enough time to showcase the cruiserweights wrestling on SmackDown. So I hope for more of these, and maybe someday we can get back to cruiserweight division. So, just hoping one day.
Yeah, I really appreciate Dragon Lee and Axiom giving us some good lucha things.
Yep.
To close out our picks of the week, let's go to Ro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hangman versus Swerve, Texas Deathmatch.
Good God.
Full Gear.
So good.
What a match. What an experience. What a fucking experience. So if you haven't seen it yet, they absolutely brutalize each other. Like I've never, not in a long time in mainstream wrestling, I've never seen like anyone or 2 people hate each other as much as these guys did. Syempre, obviously, it's we never know if there were real feelings behind it. But if I didn't know any better, I would have thought that there were, because it was just so intense. It was just so crazy, and this is everything I want from blood feuds. I wrote in my review of Full Gear with that. A lot of times when you watch hardcore matches and death matches, they just do the weapon spots, the brutal spots for the kicks, for the novelty, for the virality, if you will. You clip this and then people will be amazed and it will spread, and that's it. But it was even Jericho Gage. It felt like they were just doing the funny spot or the brutal spots for the hell of it, yeah. for the kicks, for the shits and giggles. But I thought like you can feel legit hate, and I don't even know why they hate each other. I mean, like yes, Swerve invaded Hangman's home. Hangman said there was a reason. Swerve's kids and wife don't talk to him anymore. That's all pretty good. But you would remember that this all just came from Swerve thinking Hangman took his spot or whatever. Swerve thinking he could do better in Hangman's spot. So, what an escalation! Oh my God!
Oh yeah,
Jesus! Swerve is crazy for taking all the staple gun spots.
Fuck.
Everyone's
Sana walang
crazy.
sana walang may AIDS sa kanila eh.
Hepatitis na.
Wala naman siguro.
Diba? Sana nag-test man lang sila before they started doing
Baka naman
blood
nag-test
spots.
nila natin nakita.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hangman drinking Swerve's
Yeah,
blood. Oh my God.
Napakaulo niya. I've never
You know,
seen that in wrestling. I
Uh,
don't think I needed to see that in wrestling.
Hangman, falling on shattered glass in a spot would, drive CM Punk crazy. I'm sure there was a shot at him because, Hangman and Punk don't like each other. So, really insane stuff. Na, it's gruesome, pero may saysay. Like, you've never felt two people in wrestling lately hate each other this much. That I wish that this was the Terry Funk memorial Deathmatch, Texas Deathmatch, instead of that quote unquote hardcore match we got on that SmackDown. So, Jesus fucking Christ. I haven't seen a match like seem to genuinely emotionally scar the competitors in it, like since I don't know, Edge versus Mick Foley's at WrestleMania 22, when when Edge sold the fire spot, the fire table spot, like he was harrowed from that experience. So it's a masterpiece of violence and emotion. Nah, it's not ultra violence just because they wanted to push boundaries. It's because they wanted to tell the story of how much they absolutely hated each other on screen. So please, it's not for the squeamish, but I feel like if you say you're a fan of storytelling in wrestling, especially if you don't like AEW, say quote unquote, they're all spot fest, they're all, work rate. This is the match to watch. And after this, there is no way Swerve should not be at least in the World Championship conversation in 2024.
Yeah.
Go Emile.
No, again, what a match. This is how you should end a blood feud. Because that's one of the...
Sure ka ba tapos na?
I think, come on, I think it is. The feud is done. I mean, ito na yung peak ng feud. And one of the things that annoys me about wrestling is how after a very personal blood feud, they would have the blow off as a regular match. Like, for example, Triple H, Randy Orton, WrestleMania 25. They wrestled that as a regular match, even though the feud was very personal, diba? And I was watching this match with my girlfriend, and I was enjoying this match, and she questioned why a nice, gentle softie would enjoy such brutality.
Why would you watch it with her though?
I was at her house, so I was watching it.
You did that to yourself, young buck.
Yeah, I know. But again,
that's between you and God.
Yeah.
Sa presinto ka na lang magpaliwanag.
Like, especially yung bubog when Swerve did that 450, and I was like marking out, like she was like looking at me like, what? Why are you enjoying this? But again, it was so brutal. One of the most actually before this, probably the most violent match I've seen was also involving Swerve Strickland, the Kill Shot versus AR Fox match from Lucha Underground years ago, and this is on the same levels of brutality with that. I'm gonna reference the Masked Man show since today was the first time I listened to that about Swerve being in the main title scene. They kind of said that maybe Swerve is the devil, even though it's a far fetch, and like a way for Swerve to enter the world title scene is to end the Hangman feud and reveal he's the devil. He's been the one messing with MJF all along. So maybe maybe not. Pero I am sure that the 2024 is going to be Swerve's year, and he has come a long way. I mean, he was released by WWE.
Yeah,
he kind of started flat in AEW, and then he picked up a little bit of momentum, teaming up with Keith Lee, and then they broke up, and then parang wala. Like, they didn't even do the feud initially. They did the feud way too late, and started gaining momentum, and now he's main event. He's a main event. He's a world champion in the future. Future world champion already. So, congrats to both men. Man, one of AEW's best matches here. That's for me. That's it.
Real quick, napatunayan niya yung sinabi niya kay Hangman. If it were him in the spot, he would have made the most of it. I think that was him calling his shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned yung the Edge versus Mick Foley match from WrestleMania 22. Kaligan nun for me yung Backlash parang hardcore match nina Randy Orton and Mick Foley.
Oh yeah, Mick
Oh
Foley.
yeah, 2004 one. That was
So now I'm gonna put Swerve and Hangman in that same category because that's how scarred I was coming out of it. Let me just tell you experience go watching that a few hours ago. I was on the exercise bike and I had my iPad play the match, right? So I was in the middle of the house for everyone to hear, and yung staple guns pa lang, I was yelling out, "Tangina!" Or like, Lord, tangina kadire. So I was like,
then he stapled himself.
Yeah, and then he stapled himself, right?
Like why?
Narinig no kapatid ko, nasa taas siya nagtatrabaho, bumaba siya, sabi niya, tangina, kala ko na paano ka, nanonood ka lang pala ng wrestling. So, like, and I'm very squeamish. So I try to avoid death matches. I try to avoid matches like this. But I appreciated this match very much because of everything that they put themselves through. And like you said, Ro, may saysayong violence. You could see why they hated one another. You could see the lengths that they were willing to go to really punish one another. And even though medyo overbooked siya towards the end with Brian Cage and Prince Nana interfering, I still think na it made sense kahit papano. And I like how through it all, si Swerve pa rin yung nanalo. Like he found a way to get extra dastardly towards the end by using that cinder block and just smashing it with sa upper back or batok ni Hangman. So I agree. It was a great match despite the emotional journey that it took me through.
I before yung nga sabi ko, di ba, hindi ko pa natatapos yung full gear. But I actually went out of my way to see this match. Kasi nakita ko yung iniinom na ni Hangman yung dugo ni Swerve. I'm not squeamish myself. I've picked death matches on this episodes before, pero when I saw that happen, good God, natalo na niya yung protruding barbecue stick sa ulo ni John Moxley. That was the most extreme thing I've seen in wrestling. And then I saw Paige drink Hangman's blood. Page drink Swerve's blood. So medyo, medyo intense siya. It goes Randy Orton sticking a screwdriver in Jeff Hardy's ear. Box with the barbecue sticks. And then the blood drinking. My God.
Eto, Chino, tanong ko sa'yo, ano mas kadire? Yung blood drinking or may magbumumug ng bayag?
Oh my God. Anyway, it was just a little parang dumating na din sa point na question ko na yung hate nila eh. Like, is it really this intense? Is it really worth all this?
I think
yeah, parang dumating na siya dun sa point na yun. And then but then I was enjoying the match for what it was because that's essentially what a death match is. Tama naman din kayo na death matches are supposed to be a little bit deeper than that kasi patayan siya in the literal sense. Diba, yung intensity na dinadala niya. But for me, I'm a little bit more shallow than that. So, mas na-enjoy ko siya for the brutality, the unexpectedness, the shock value that it brought. Yun talaga, yun yung pinaka na-enjoy ko. The fact that it made all of us a little squeamish in our own skins was something I never expected. Also, Rowan Emile, hindi niyo shout out si Prince Nana.
Wait, I was gonna get to that.
That's my thoughts. Fucking Prince Nana. God bless Prince Nana, man. Right. Oh my God. I love that guy.
Okay, since bringing up, I was gonna do this after everyone had talked. I wanted to give flowers to fucking Prince Nana kasi before many of you knew of him in this version of AEW and ROH, I had been watching the guy 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago, in the Sinclair days. Ring of Honor. He was still managing Tommaso Ciampa and the others. What a guy. 10 years ago, he was, for those who don't know, he claims to be an actual prince from Ghana. So that thing is almost halfway legit, I guess. And then this guy was not a known entity at all outside of Smarks finding a way to catch ROH back then in the early 2010s. And now everyone knows who he is, all because he got over with his dance, and he still did the dance in the middle of a brutal dance.
Before getting the finisher onto that
Dead eye, yeah.
Before
Baka raw
that.
sumayaw din si Hangman eh. Para di siya kapakan, di ba?
No, before that, he pulls Swerve out of the ring to save him from the 10 count, and then he does the dance.
Para daw magising si Swerve.
that man knows what he is doing in there, and I am glad that how old is he now? He's in his mid 40s, so I'm glad that he still found a way late in his career to get over and be a known entity in mainstream wrestling. So it proves that you're never too old. As long as you find the way, the thing that gets you over. So God bless Prince.
God bless Prince Nana, man.
That guy almost retired. That guy almost retired from wrestling.
Yeah, he was gone for a while. Yeah.
He was.
Now, I just need someone to buy his shirt so Prince Nana can get his weed.
There were signs in the crowd. That was so funny as well. Yeah.
What a fucking legend. I love this guy. I really love this guy. All right, so those are our picks of the week. Let us know what yours are. You know where to find us. It is at Wrestling2xPod on Twitter and on TikTok. Couple of reminders once again. We've got our Thursday live stream, 7 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. Just search for us, the Wrestling Podcast. You can also join us at our Survivor Series viewing party. That's happening over the weekend at Hobby Stadium with prizes from Everybody's Toys and Collectibles. Tickets will be 500 pesos. That's the walk-in rate kasi tapos na po yung early bird rate natin. 500 pesos gets you a free drink, and syempre you get to be with us as you catch Survivor Series War Games. And bilhin na rin kayo ng food sa Hobby Stadium. Order na rin kayo kasi sobrang sarap ng food nila. So Survivor Series War Games, November 26, Sunday, 8 a.m. That's when doors open. 9 a.m. yung main show. All right. We've also got the Black Friday Pasabay Run. So please join us. If you want to get your wrestling merch na legit, tinyurl.com/WWP Black Friday 2023. Join us sa paglalason sa mga bank account at wallets natin. Sana may bonus na kayo para may pambili kayo for Black Friday. Right?
Yeah.
Let's get to Chino's plug right here as well.
Yeah, just a quick plug. Over the weekend, I did a guesting on the Comsat Boys podcast. And we talked all things wrestling. Konting video games then, but mostly wrestling. You can find it on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. It's a 90-minute episode that talks about current day wrestling, yung wrestling na kinalikan namin. And it gives a little insider. It gets a little insidery at certain points, but these guys are great. They are local fans of the comedy scene, and they're also fans of the podcast. So, hanap na tayo. They've been silent listeners in the background.
Hello, Comsat Boys.
What's up, Comsat Boys?
Yes, and hopefully mapakinggan niyo yung episode is out now. Comsat Boys podcast.
Right.
All right. There you have it. This has been our audio-only Picks of the Week episode. Medyo napalaki kasi ang daming pinag-usapan. Of course, that happens every time you've got a big weekend of wrestling. But thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Wrestling Podcast. We will catch you on Thursday for the live stream. On behalf of Chino Liao, Romaran, and Emile Nate, my name is Stan C. Thank you very much to Babyface producer Jasper and everyone else at the Pod Network for all of the work that you do behind the scenes. And thank you for catching this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out. Bye-bye.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm